아리랑.
Coming up next, let's hear from Ambassador Nicholas Fabian Trujillo Newlin about his opinion on trade cooperation between Korea and Ecuador.
Ambassador, welcome to Diplomacy Lounge. Thank you very much for being on our show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, Professor.
I heard that you were recently accredited to this diplomatic arena, just about a few weeks ago, I guess.
Yes, that's correct. There was a group of approximately 6 ambassadors who presented their credentials to President Lee.
Okay.
And I was the second longest tenured ambassador awaiting to present credentials.
Oh, is that right? Yes. How did you like to feel when you heard that you would be assigned to Korea? How did it like to be?
I was very excited. I've long respected the Korean culture and the tremendous economic gains and social gains that are evidence of what Korea has been able to do in a hyper-competitive world.
Well, before being assigned as an ambassador to this country, that I learned that you worked for a business group, and then you have done more than 2 decades in that area. How was it like to be turning yourself into this diplomatic profession from the business circle?
So as long as we have intellectual curiosity, I think that we're able to hone in on the skills and the activities that are required to properly represent the career of a diplomat.
I see. Well, let's talk about the economic and trade relations between the two countries. As of now, how would you evaluate the situation of trade and other economic relations between the two countries?
Well, I think we have great opportunities.
Okay.
Ecuador has 8 times the amount of food products that we need to feed our people. It's not always about cost, it's about the total value proposition of a product. And if we have high quality or higher quality products and more consistent year-round crops, and we can genuinely add value to Korean society through our products and services, I think that it's the consumer who should decide if our products really meet the value proposition that we're meeting with Korean Airlines to work with them to create more efficient logistics routes to be able to bring products from Ecuador to Korea and also to offer tourist commerce for both countries, and that is going to require for us to do a better job placing Ecuadorian products in Korea.
Well, recently there was seminars and training programs held by the Korean International Trade Association and KOICA. And please tell us a little bit about this.
Yes, we're very grateful to KOICA and KITA for their help in developing the talent of our Ecuadorian government representatives. What they have been training here has been toward developing better services for Korean investors who would like to come to Ecuador and develop commercial opportunities, as well as to provide services to Korean importers or exporters who would like to do business with Ecuador. The Ecuadorian national government is working very hard to develop the investment promotion agencies and the export promotion and support agencies to create an easier pathway for Koreans and the whole world to transact commerce with our country.
Okay, well, to tell our audience that, matter of fact, we have a camera crew followed this event and then had taken the picture. So let's take a look of the scene of this training, okay?
Very well.
The Ecuadorian embassy in Korea is in Jongno, Seoul. Today, a seminar for Ecuadorian public servants will be held here. We found the Ecuadorian ambassador to Korea busy preparing for his lecture.
The presentation that we're going to have today with the members of the class that is learning currently in the Korean International Trade Association is designed to help them understand the market in Korea and to understand the symmetries that exist between the Ecuadorian exporters, the Ecuadorian investment opportunities, and how Korean business people and the community at large could benefit from those investment and export opportunities.
12 Ecuadorian public servants begin to arrive at the embassy one by one. They arrived in Korea on February 24th to participate in a 17-day training program titled Investment and Trade Promotion Strategies. The program is divided largely into two sections: lectures by experts in the fields of trade, exports and FTAs, and hands-on training, including visits to industrial facilities and cultural events.
We paying for a course in export promotion and investment attraction. This course includes some lessons about the economic history of South Korea, the way that you are promoting your exports and attracting foreign investment, as well as some visits to industrial parks. And also part of the course is to learn about Korean culture.
The seminar finally begins. The Ecuadorian government is planning to establish a promotion bureau of exports and investment within the foreign ministry. Trainees were encouraged to learn trade strategies that could be applied to their domestic market and could promote trade investments between Korea and Ecuador.
I think the most important thing is the cultural thing, the most important. So we know how the Koreans, what are the products they like, what are their needs, and how to think a little bit more like a Korean when they want to import a product from Ecuador, they want to export a product from Ecuador, from Korea to Ecuador, or if they want to invest.
Yes, as a matter of fact, this is the first group of students, but we have another 12 students arriving in about 2 weeks. And we hope to have every month a new set of students coming to Korea to hopefully take advantage of the wonderful education and the very generous assistance that we're receiving from the Korean government.
Training program.
I must say how grateful we are for the excellent training that Korea government has provided to our Ecuadorian citizens.
1997 and 78 is the years that we have experienced the serious financial crisis. Almost at the same time, your country was also very much hard hit by the economic situation, right?
Yes.
And then you have all fully covered. And a very strong and charismatic leader in your country, though.
Yes, we are very happy to say that during the most difficult period in the latest economic global recession, 2008, 2009, Ecuador still managed to grow our economy.
That's great.
And we think that we are poised for 2010, 2011 to prove to be the years that we absolutely came out of that difficult economic period and that we are placing our country on track for long-term sustainable economic growth.
Well, incidentally, the Middle East situation forces us to have more demands on oil, the products. And in being an oil producer, third largest in Latin America, you are very much benefited by these natural resources. But I heard the news that your government is trying not to develop the fields in Amazon area while trying to nationalize the oil business. Please tell me about the stories.
Well, first, I'll begin with the second part of your question.
Yes.
Our country is not nationalizing the oil fields or oil production.
Yeah.
What we are doing is renegotiating existing contracts to a model of fee for services. Our country believes that the oil is not the government's, it's the people's resource. And we do not have the right to sell something that is not ours. So we are working very professionally to renegotiate with ethics, with integrity, with honesty, very profitable for the companies who manage the services. But we are changing the model of the extraction of our country's natural resources to a fee-for-services model. The first part of your question, if we talk about what our country wants to do with those natural resources, we believe that Ecuador has to work to be a post-petroleum economy.
Okay.
So it's not that we do not want to benefit from the revenue of extracting those millions of barrels of oil that are underneath the Yasuni, it's called Yasuni ITT Park. It's a ecological reserve that has more diversity in 1 kilometer of that reserve than you will find in many other countries that are considered biospheres. And what we would like to do is not compensation. I have seen that we are seeking compensation for not exploiting our oil. What we are seeking is contribution. We all breathe the same air that we will be polluting with millions of tons of carbon dioxide if we exploit this oil. So we are seeking from Korea, for example, help with creating eolic or wind-powered energy, photovoltaic and thermal solar energy, every kind of alternative energy that we can try to be pioneers, that we can try to be leaders in our global society of how we can produce energy without having to destroy our ecosystem and without having to mortgage the future of the environment for our children and our grandchildren. So again, if people think our countries position us as trying to seek compensation, we are not. We're seeking contribution to offset 50% of the value of what the value of those barrels of oil underneath this ecological reserve. We are willing to pay the biggest bill. We will pay 50% of the value of this oil. But we would like the rest of the world who is going to benefit also breathing that same oxygen, that same air that we breathe, to contribute, because we are not the richest country in the world. We are a middle-income country. We are a developing country. We do need to improve our infrastructure. We are investing millions of dollars improving our road systems, our airports. We now have award-winning airports like you have in Incheon. Obviously not the scale, but we are working very hard to be well publicized in Korea. Korea has been working with Peru on a free trade agreement. You're in conversations now, hopefully at the end of conversations with Colombia in terms of a free trade agreement with them. Well, they are our neighbors. Colombia is our border to the north, and Peru is our neighbor bordering to the south. They each have their own currency which they can devaluate. Colombia can devaluate their peso, Peru can devaluate their sol and generate more currency in their environment. Ecuador is a dollarized economy. We cannot devaluate our currency. So when we have such a terrible trade imbalance as we currently suffer with Korea of more than $800 million that leave our country, not to come back through Korea purchasing Ecuadorian products, we get into a liquidity challenge where we have to make a decision what's going to happen when we run out of those dollars that are fleeing the country. So we do not want to put any trade tariff. What we would like to have is reciprocal trade with Korea. But when we do, and if we do put trade tariffs, they're always in line with the World Commerce Organization with WTO and WCO requirements.
Well, while the exerting efforts for balancing the trade between the two countries, you may also try more attracting the foreign investment, the Koreans, the direct investment in your country. And recently there's one example, the Korean POSCO construction company has acquired one of the leading companies in your country. What is this?
Yes, that's correct. Well, this ambassador made 3 presentations in front of the board of directors of POSCO. And we communicated to them, as we are communicating to the rest of the business community in Korea, the benefits of the new production code that Ecuador's assembly has recently passed. Towards the end of December last year, our assembly passed the new production code, which provides significant incentives to investors in our country, provides transparency for the investor regulations, and does not discriminate in any way whether you are a national, local investor or a foreign investor. So the protection of the investor, the rules under which we can subscribe contracts and agreements for protecting the investments made by whether it's nationals or foreigners, I think has created a much better climate and a much better environment that helped to propel POSCO to make the investment in a company called Santos CMI, purchasing 70% of the stock in that business.
Well, thank you very much, Ambassador, for the time and thought shared with the Arirang audience. And then I wish you success in your ambassador business.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.